This is J. Krishnamurti's 9th discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1975.
What shall we talk about this morning?
So you said you were going to speak to us about silence. About silence. You said last time you would speak to us about silence.
Do you want to speak about silence? Does it really interest you? Or is it a casual affair? I wonder what you mean by silence. I'm going to ask several questions, and out of that we'll begin to see what it means. Are you aware that you're silent? When you are aware that you are silenced, is that silence? Is silence between two noises? Answer these questions. Is silence between two notes? Is peace between two walls? So, to go into this question very deeply if you want to, if you don't, we'll talk about other things. So we must be quite sure at the beginning that you do want to talk about it. Do you? Not the martial silence, but something else. I think we shall approach it by asking, what do you mean by seeing? You say, I see the tree, or I see you, or I see these clouds passing by, the blue sky. What do you mean by seeing? Apart from the visual response of light on the eye and so on, beyond that, what do you mean by seeing? I see you sitting there, blue trousers, Greek coat, whatever you were wearing, and you see me sitting here. What do you mean by that? Let's talk it over together. It's not my show. It's a dialogue. You know what a dialogue is? A conversation, amicable conversation between two friends. Not merely arguing. Argument is offering one opinion against another. That's a discussion. Through discussion, opinion against opinion, we hope to come to understand what is truth. And so I won't go into that either, that's too difficult. So, what do you mean by seeing? I see this roof. I see you. I see the trees, I see the birds. When you see, what takes place? Go on. Continue, allez-y.
The act of seeing, the act
The act of seeing. Okay, you see me and I see you. What do you mean by that word seeing?
Your eyes only.
Bipon?
Your eyes only are stimulated by the light.
We said that.
So then
Then
to your cerebrum.
I understand, through your senses and all the rest of it. Beyond that, what do you mean by seeing?
Why should it go beyond that?
Huh?
Why does it go beyond that?
Is that all seeing?
No, it isn't.
You're aware.
I see you sitting there, light, vibrations, response of memory, and so on, all that. But is that only seeing? Is that all implied in seeing? Because we're going to relate seeing, if it is there is a relationship between seeing and silence. We're going to find that out. If I don't know how to see you silently, I don't see you at all, do I?
No, so the response of memory
Let go slowly.
already goes beyond the eye seeing.
That's right. So, I see you, I can see you only when there is silence in my mind, when there is no prejudice, no chattering, no image about you, whether you are friend, non-friend, Russian or communist, socialist, British, French, or American. When I can look at you silently, then only I see you.
There's an element of interpretation there. It has to be.
Why should there be interpretation? You say there has to be. Why should there be interpretation?
Because physiologically,
No,
I look at his blue pants, his blue shirt.
I see that.
I'm saying it's blue.
I say it's blue. I say it's blue. I said that. I say it's blue. I say it's grey shirt, darkish hair, or curly hair, whatever it is. I see that.
It's his interpretation.
Now, so if my mind is chattering, it's a blue shirt, I don't like it, I like a grey shirt, or proceed, that's what I'm saying. As long as my mind is chattering, whether that chattering takes the form of an opinion, a judgment, evaluation, I like, dislike, fear, and all the rest of it, I'm not seeing you. My mind is chattering. Therefore, there is no seeing.
There's just opinion.
And I've said that. Right? Do we go along so far? So I can only see you when my mind is fairly quiet. Right?
What do you mean by see you?
We're going to go slowly, sir. We're going to see you. Now, I see you. The grey trousers, blue shirt, tie, a sweater, a coat, a face which I recognize, I've seen it before, certain color of hair, nose, and all the form. And with the form associated with the name. The name, because it has got certain associations, is British, not French, or Italian, or Russian, and so on. So if my mind is occupied with all that, then I'm only seeing the form. I don't see what is inside. I go outside and look at this hall. But to see the whole structure, I must not only see the outside, but also I must go inside. So, to see something, the tree, the cloud, the mountain, the bird, the sky, and you, the mind must be fairly quiet. That's obvious. Right? Would you say? Now, is your mind quiet when you see that her or him? Or is it chattering? Go and find out. And are you aware that it's chattering? Opinion, judgment, evaluation, like, dislike, oh, is my friend, is not my friend, you know, is a girl, nice looking girl, long hair, short hair, you follow? Or do you look the form, the shape, the color, and move from that further? You following? Are you doing it? And to move further inside, your mind must be quiet. There. Are we agreed? Not verbally. Don't agree with me verbally. Either it is so or it is not so. So, to see something clearly, without distortion, my mind must be quiet, without interpretation, and so on. Can you do that? When you see the speaker sitting on this platform, can you look at the form, the body, the shape, and go inside, as it were, as you go inside a house, inside this hall. You have seen it from the outside. Now you look at it from the inside. And you wanted to know what silence is. Talk about it. Right? Whoever asked that question, I forgot the matter. Now you must find out what silence means and why should there be silence. Why did you sit silently before I came in here? Why? Was it a habit? A tradition? Somebody asked you to sit quietly, and therefore you sit quietly, not talking. And were you aware that you were silent? Nelson? You are aware. And when you are aware, is that silence? You know what's implied in awareness? I'm aware you're sitting there. I'm conscious of you, with your shirt, with all the rest of it. And am I aware in the same way that I'm silent? If I am so aware, is there not a division, a separation between the one who says I am silent and silence? Are you following this? No? Go slowly. I'm going to go repeat it several times. Get into it. We are discussing. This is not a talk Bible.
But can there be just the state of awareness, not somebody being aware of silence?
We're going to go into that. So we'll find out. If I am aware of you, or if I am aware that I am silent, there is there not a division, a separation between the one who thinks he is silent and silence? there is a division between the observer and the observed. Right? Right? You understood that? So there is that silence. Do discuss, talk about it. Let's talk about it. You know, when I look at that tree, I'm sorry to take that tree everlastingly, that's a good example though. I look at that tree. There is a distance between the observer and the observed, right? The distance is time, right? A movement from here to there, right? And so there is a separation between the observer and the observed. The observer says, I like that tree. It is a cypress, it is a pine, it is an oak. The world separates the observer from the observed. Please, this is really very important to learn. Learn about it. Not accept what I'm saying, but learn about it. So this division, outwardly and inwardly, brings about great deal of trouble, great deal of mischief. I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, I am a Christian, I am a communist, I am a Buddhist. God, you follow? And you are not. So there is a division between the observer and the observed. And so where there is division, there must be conflict. The Arab, the Jew, the Hindu, the Muslim, the communist, the community, follow all that. Division must invariably bring about conflict. Right? Now, am I aware that I'm silent? Division, you follow? And is that silence? So I said, is it silence between two notes? Between two noises? Between two quarrels? Is peace between two wars? So, is it silence when there is a division between the observer and the observed? Or is it not silence at all? Silence means complete silence, not I am silent. I don't know. You get it?
Can I ask a question about a tree? In observing the tree, there seems to be an awareness of the tree, and simultaneously there seems to be an awareness of the body. Is that a confusion?
I don't quite follow.
In observing the tree, there seems to be, at the same time, an awareness of one's own body.
Yes, there's that one's own body, and the other tree, there's a division.
So that's a division.
I am saying, sir, asking, where there is division, there must be not only conflict, various other incidents, influences, everything takes place. When I when the observer says, I am silent, as though something silent is apart from him, as the observer, then I'm asking you, is that silence? Are you quite sure? Go into it, look into it, experiment with it, observe it.
There cannot be silence when there is duality, because one would try to impose.
That's right. That's right. So where there is an awareness of silence, you're not silent. It's like saying, I am very humble. It sounds silly. So silence means a movement or a state or a something in which the observer is the observed. Got it? Please, this is very difficult because one has to go into very, very deeply into this question, if you are interested in it, that all our life, all our education, everything is this division. You follow?
Where does recognition come in? From the time that I see that it's a tree, and it's a tree, and the time that I say, well, I don't like the shape of that tree, and it's a pine or whatever. Where does the difference between when I recognize something and then
can you look at a tree without the word? Look, listen to it quietly. First listen. Don't agree or disagree, but just listen. Can you look at that tree without a word? Without like and dislike? Without saying something about it? Botanically? Emotionally? And so on. Just can you look at it without the movement of thought? Right? Thought being the word, right? The symbol, the picture, the interpretation, like and dislike, prejudice, all that. That's a movement of thought. And we said the other day, thought is a movement in time. Now, when there is a movement of thought in time, there is separation. Right? So, silence means a quality of mind in which the observer is non-existent, which means the observer is the observed.
So could you elaborate a little bit on when you see something, is it to do with the conscious thinking that you're speaking? Because when you look at a tree, we unconsciously recognize it's a tree, and we don't dwell with that, it's so familiar. If we looked out the window and saw a dinosaur, quite a different thought would be stimulated by that. So the perception of the tree is so familiar, so quick, but it nevertheless is there. So is it that you're saying the chattering and the process of thought goes on in the conscious mind? That's what you're talking about. Or is it deeper so that there is no recognition whatsoever?
No. My Lord. You know what it means to recognize? Recognizant. To be cognizant again. Right, sir? To recognize implies that you have known it already. I recognize you because I saw you yesterday. I talked to you yesterday. So, the memory of you of yesterday, through that memory I recognize you. That's a conscious process, isn't it? Memory, the response of that memory as recognition, as Alan, and I say, yes, that's it.
But is this also different when you say, also the observer and the observer, that I am recognizing them?
I'll say, I'm going to answer you, I'll say. Have you ever questioned who is the observer? Is this too difficult? Does it amuse you? Is it fun? Or is it becoming too serious? You're getting bored with it. Have you ever asked, who is the observer? I observe you. Who is the entity that's observing you? I observe Philip, and I see, yes, he's Philip, Patterson's son, Ohio, associations, nice weather, nice climate, orange trees, flowers, blossom, mountains. You follow? Sunshine, light, the perfume of the fill the valley, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So the observer, right, is the past. You getting it? I observe you, Philip, and I've known you, which is the past, memory, and the memory says that's Philip. So the observer is the past, like all the memory associations, like all that. That past not only recognizes you, but that past says, oh, I like him. I don't like him. So I'm asking whether you can observe without the past. Do listen, experiment with it. Go into it for fun. Just to... Now, you hear a great deal of pop music, don't you? Or you hear a great deal of some kind of music, classical music. This morning I was hearing Mozart. And yesterday morning I listened to Michelangelo playing, what was it? Debussy. Playing Debussy, Children's Corner. Now, there was only an act of listening. Not saying, yes, I heard that in Parlou, in Paris, with some friends, and association. You follow? Just to listen. Which is not a conscious process of recognition, association, and so on. It's just an act of, total act of listening. No. You try. Now, Nelson, listen, try this. Listen to this. I'm saying, listen carefully. Give your whole attention to it. I said, the observer is the past. Listen, don't agree or disagree. The observer is the past. The observer is the tradition, the habit, the memory responding. All that is the past the remembrances, all that is the observer. Have you listened to that statement without drawing a conclusion about it?
I don't know what conclusion can I draw.
Conclusion means an idea. Now I say to you, will you listen? I say to you that's a microphone. Can you look at it? Because when I say that's a microphone, you know the meaning of that word. We both are saying the same thing. If we don't say an elephant, then you say, what are you talking about? Crazy. We both know that's a microphone. You have listened to that word very carefully. And that is a verbal, conscious communication to you. Now, I say, apart from that listening, can you listen without the word, just complete attention without the word? Can you? Or do you think it's all rubbish? Not worth bothering about? Because you see, most wars, most antagonisms arise because we cling to our past heredity, past memories, past traditions, and we don't go beyond our conditioning. You are a Jew, I'm an Arab. And I won't listen to you because I'm heavily burdened with my belief, with my patriotism, with my nationality, with my God, and you are too. So we are at each other. We never listen. Therefore, to listen implies freedom from the past, the observer. I wonder if you're getting all this. Right? So there must be freedom to observe.
Also, when you say, this is the microphone, and when you say, look at this microphone, and I know the knowledge, what does the microphone do? Am I associating with the past also?
Of course.
But I know the function of microphone.
Of course, you are associating, when I say microphone, all the things arise out of it.
No, not all the other, but the function of the microphone. I cannot say, well, this is a microphone.
Of course. I said, can you look at it without the word? Just look. Can you look, if you are a Christian or whatever you are, I hope you are not, if you are a Christian or a Hindu or whatever you are, can you look at me who is a Muslim or a communist without any association? Just look. Which means you have not only to observe consciously to the shape, to the form, to the tradition, to all that, but also putting aside all that to look.
Putting your own background.
Of course, put away your background. Slough it off.
That means not being a Christian.
Nothing, just look. You are a human being, not a label. It is the labels, I'm a Hindu, you're a Muslim, or something else, and we are at each other's throats.
But also this is not somebody saying, well, I'm going to put all my beliefs aside, I'm not going to be a Christian. What is I?
And of course, that's much more complex. I don't want to go into that for the moment. We went into it the other day. What is you? Remember we talked about it. What is it? Your color of your hair? Are you the hair? The face? The body? Go into it, sir. Find out. So, we are saying silence implies a state of mind in which there is no duality, to use your word, in which there is no division as the observer and the observed. And further on, if you want to go deeply into it, there is only state of observation. There is only a state of seeing. Not the observer says, I see. I certainly, if you have understood that, we can go further. All right, take something. You know what greed is, don't you? We all know that. Or jealousy, or envy. Is your greed different from the observer? I'll explain. Don't be going too slowly. I say I'm greedy. Is that greed different from me? I am angry. Is that anger separate from me? Or the me is that anger? The me is that greed?
It is greed.
When I say I'm greedy, I give it a name because I have associated with that feeling a certain word, right? Which is the past, which is me. And I say that, so, when I'm greedy, that greed is me. If you separate it, I am not that greed, then you try to conquer it, then you rationalize it, then you say it is right to be greedy. If I am not greedy, I will be destroyed in this civilization. I must be greedy, I must be competitive, I must be this, I must be that. As long as your greed is separate from yourself. Is that? Can we go along?
Is it separate or we make it separate?
We make it separate. Why do we make it separate? Why do we separate ourselves from anger? So, and you say, I mustn't be angry. Or it was right to be angry. He hit me, he said something as unpleasant, it made me angry. Why do we make this division?
We used to separate things which we don't like.
Go look at it. Why? Is it because you don't know what to do with greed? And therefore you separate it, hoping thereby that in this separation you can act upon it. You're following this? I'm greedy. And I don't know how to go beyond greed. Because I see greed does terrible things to me. I'm fighting, anxious, fearful, frightened I may lose, I might not listen. I'm frightened. and I don't know what to do with it. Therefore, I separate it and say, well, I then can act on that greed. I can do something about it, suppress it, control it, go beyond it, rationalize it, explain it away. I can do something. You got it? Huh? Then when I realize greed is me, I can't do anything. Right? Have you come to that point? When I see anger is me, greed is me, envy is, I am that. I'm not separate from that. Right? Then what happens? You understood? Before I acted upon greed, before I acted upon anger, before I acted upon jealousy and so on, when all that is me, what am I to do? You understand, okay?
I can't do anything.
If you can't do anything, what takes place? If you really can't do anything, what has happened?
Wanting to do something was greed.
Before, listen, sir, before you were in the habit or tradition or displacement about greed. You did something, acted upon it, and that gave you certain energy. That gave you a certain sense of doing something about it. Because society said you mustn't be greedy, religion said you mustn't be greedy, education, and so on. You are doing something about it. But when you realize you are it, it's a game, you are it, then what happens? You can't do anything.
You're caught up into it.
Huh?
You're caught up into it.
You are that. You're not caught up in it. You are that. Then what happens?
You're learning?
Huh?
You're learning?
Well, find out. Find out. Learn about it. That's part of our education. Not just mathematics and geography and philosophy or whatever you're studying. This is as more important than the other. That's necessary, but this is tremendously important. What happens to something? I can't do something about it. Does it exist? If I can't do anything about it, does greed exist? I'm jealous of you, right? You're nicer looking, you have long hair, blonde hair, taller, brighter, more alive, more intellectual, more this, more beautiful, I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of you because I'm comparing myself with you. Right? So the reaction to comparison is a form of jealousy. Now, if I don't compare to you, myself with you, what happens? Huh?
You're not jealous.
Well, what happens? I'm not jealous, right? If I accept my face as it is, it's as it is. then what? It's only when I compare myself with you, who are more beautiful, this, that, and the other, then I am dissatisfied with what I am. Frightened, nervous, anxious, fearful, all that. So when I can't do anything about greed, because I am that greed, what happens? Huh?
Do you become insecure?
I don't become insecure. What happens? Look, I just now said to you, Philip, look. You weren't listening. You weren't listening. Sorry. I compare myself with you. You are brighter, taller, more beautiful, more this and more that. Comparison means measurement. Measuring myself with you, I become anxious, I'm jealous, I'm frightened, I'm this. When I don't compare myself with you, I am... you understand? There is no jealousy. There is no jealousy. You understood? In the same way, when I am greedy, not greed separates something from me, then there is freedom from the very word which is derogatory, which has got all kinds of associations of should be, should not be, for all that. So I'm free of all that. Do you see this? Please learn about it. For goodness sake, you're young, learn about it. Don't get set in your ways. This is time to learn, to change, to... right? So, come back. Silence means the observer is not. You've heard about meditation, haven't you? Some of you. Every person who meditates wants this silence. Therefore, he says, that silence is over there, and I'm going to get it. You understand? Which is, I am not silent. And it's over there, and I must train myself to be silent in order to get that. So I am comparing, listen carefully, I am comparing my noise to that which is silent. So when there is no comparison, what takes place? We'll go into all this. I don't know if you see the beauty of this thing. So, go back to something. We said yesterday, the other time we met here, there is the art of listening, right? We said art means to put everything in its right place, not painting pictures and drawing this. Art, the meaning of that word, the root meaning of that word means to put things where it belongs, which is order. And in order there is beauty. Right. So there is the art of seeing. No, listening. That we discussed. Now we have discussed, gone into the art of seeing. Right? Huh?
What was the distinction between the two?
What?
What was the distinction between the two?
Different between seeing and listening.
No. Is there?
I'll tell you. There is no difference if you are completely attentive. You see, you listen, you see, you learn. Everything is then in the right place, where everything belongs. So I'm saying to learn, to look at it. First, the art of listening. If you know what it means to listen to somebody, with your heart, with your mind, listen. In that listening, there is no division. As the observer who listens and listening to something, there is total act of listening. In the same way, there is the art of seeing. Then there is the art of learning. We have divided these three: art of learning, listening, the art of seeing, the art of learning. Divided, because if you can give your whole attention, the art of listening, art of seeing, art of learning is all one act. But as you don't know enough about it, we are separating it: art of listening, art of seeing, art of learning. We have talked about the first two, the art of listening and the art of seeing. Now, the art of learning. Are you learning? Or only merely listening? This is an educational center. A beautiful place. You can only learn when you are free. And we went into the whole question of freedom. And you can only learn when the place is suitable, happy surroundings, learning. So, what does it mean to learn? Are you tired? No? You're sure? May I go on? Is it fun for me to go on? Or you are enjoying it yourself too? What do you mean by learning? You are learning mathematics from Mr. Joe and Mr. Hirsch. You are learning mathematics. What do you mean by learning? Come on, sir. You are doing it every day. Tell me. I don't know what it means.
You're storing up information.
Huh?
Seems to be you're storing up information.
So you are receiving information, are you? From somebody who is fully informed. The man who is fully informed becomes the teacher, the educator. What is the educator? The man, according to you, is one who is fully informed about that particular subject. So you are absorbing his information, or information about that subject, not his. The collective information written in a book, and he is transmitting it to you. Is that all what you call learning? And helping you to pass some beastly exams in order to get a little job? Is that what he's doing? Huh?
I would call it studying, but not learning.
All right, you call it studying a particular subject through the help of another, which is you are memorizing or collecting information as memory, collecting in your brain. The brain cells are collecting information about mathematics. You call that study. You call that learning. The same thing. Stick to it for a moment, right? Is that all what you are learning? What are you learning? Then what is learning apart from that? Which is accumulation of knowledge stored in the brain. And responding to life according to that, what you have learned.
Can you learn through experience? Can you learn through experience?
We'll come to that. Learn through experience. First see, what is happening to you when you are collecting information? That information is stored in the brain as memory, and you go out in life and respond according to what you have gathered as information. A computer. You're not as good as computer, but you're a computer. Mechanical. Right? You improve the mechanism, make it a little more polished, more function smoothly and efficiently, and get a better job and a climber, all that. All that's involved in that gathering information. Is that what you call learning? Making your mind more and more automatic, more and more mechanical, and conditioned to function in a certain way. If you are a chemist, if you are interested in chemistry, gathering all the information about chemistry, and adding more and taking away, you follow, keep moving, always in that area, because that gives you a job, money, house, wife, children, so-called security. And you call that, is that all learning? I'm not saying that's not learning. I'm asking you, is that all?
Seems like a change takes place as well.
Huh?
It seems like a change takes place as well.
Change within that area. Of course. Otherwise you're a dead duck. You learn more.
It's more subtle than that. If I talk to someone and I learn something.
Wait, I'm going to go slowly into it. So what do you mean by learning?
Can we say exploration? To explore.
I said to you, we're asking each other, we said learning is accumulation of information stored in the brain as knowledge, which can act efficiently, skillfully, when called upon. Right? Now, that's one. Is that all? What is more? What is implied more in learning?
That's one aspect of learning.
I said that already. That's one aspect. one window doesn't make the house. A wall doesn't make a house. You need 4 walls. And when we emphasize only one wall, as you are doing, as most educationists are doing, then you're not, you follow? Just a wall. Good God. So learning implies learning about the whole, all the walls, which is learning about all of life. Right? All of life, not just one aspect of life. Learning about seeing, listening, about love, about death, about relationship. Everything is implied in that learning. And learning about yourself. Not according to somebody. Not according to some philosopher, psychologist, analyst, and so on, or a priest. Learning about yourself as you are. Are you doing that? Or you're only content to learn about one thing, one wall, one window, one aspect of life, and nothing else.
I'm not learning.
Huh?
I'm not learning here.
You're not learning what? Why are you not learning about the other aspects? The other aspects are so complex, so diversified, so enormous. Why aren't you learning about it? Come on, sir, answer it. You mean say nobody can teach you about the others? Can't discuss, have a dialogue with you? Or you don't want to learn?
That seems more the case.
Huh?
That seems more to the point. That you just don't want.
You don't want to learn. Because that's more difficult, more, that demands energy, that demands your inquiry, that you must be curious, you must have energy, you must be interested, you must give attention. And you say, oh, for God's sake, that's too much, I'd rather go out and play. So, if you don't want to learn, but only learn about one aspect of life, you have it. If you demand it, you will have it. You demand what? I don't know what. Weekends, don't you? You demand something, don't you? And you'll fight for it, you'll make mischief about it, quarrel and throw things and become violent if you don't get it. But here you are, in a lovely place. Why have freedom is, when you have freedom you can learn. Learn about not one aspect, but the total of life, the totality of existence. What it means to die. What it means to be free from fear. What are all the religions about? Whether they are something rubbish, invented by priests and by thought. You follow? You don't. If you want to learn, you have a marvelous opportunity. If you want to learn about yoga, you know what? Do you? Some of you do. the people here will teach you. Go into it. But you say, for God's sake, that means getting about 6 o'clock, I'm too tired, I'm too bored, what the heck am I? Huh? So, as I said to you the other day, when you are disorderly, you then create authority which makes you orderly. You are creating authority. We don't want authority here. But you, because you live a life of disorder, you are demanding authority. So if you say, I want to learn about beauty, what love means, what experience means, if there is a God, if there is no God, if God is dead, or if only your mind exists, then
just a while earlier you said learn about yourself.
yeah.
Can you again go into more?
I'll go into anything you want. It's my life. I've spent 50 years at this. Not for profit. Understand? Now, I said to you, we had a talk about seeing. Listen carefully. We talked about listening. We talked about seeing. Now you say to me, how am I to look at myself?
Emphasizing the observer and the observer.
Wait, I'm going to go into it very, very slow so that it soaks into you. You know how a river is formed? Have you ever seen the birth of a river? Have you ever seen the Rhine or the Rhone in Switzerland begin? Drop by drop. And it begins, gathers water, rushes. Then it has a tremendous volume behind it. You must have volume, which means energy. Sorry, I'm too close. Now, how am I to learn about myself? It is important to learn about yourself, isn't it? Why? Why should you learn about yourself? You say, I want to learn, and I'm not learning here. Here I am. I'm offering you something. Learn about it. Don't say, nobody's helping to learn here. I'm saying to you, learn about yourself. To learn about yourself, you must look at yourself. Right? And how do you look at yourself? Begin there. How do you look at yourself? Do you look at yourself through comparison with another? Or through, or you have an ideal, and that ideal dictates how you look at yourself? Come on, sir.
I don't know actually how to look, because the word itself already implies, when you say it, it implies that there is me looking at myself.
I'm asking you, Tunki, how do you look at yourself? I look at myself and I say, by Joe, I'm ugly. I shouldn't be this.
So there's somebody who's looking and saying, that's exactly.
That's just it.
But I still...
Take my hand, have patience. Listen carefully, Nelson, you will see a great deal. Avec patience, on peut tout faire tout, n'est-ce pas? Bien. I want to learn about myself. Why should I learn about myself? Answer my question. You haven't answered that question. Why should I learn about myself? Nobody does. Huh? Right? They just trot along, caught up in the rat race or whatever it is, and they say, well, why should I learn about myself? I'm all right. Jack, you're all right. How am I? You follow? I'm asking you, what should you learn about yourself? Tell me. Why should you learn about yourself? This is part of learning, isn't it? Tell me, why should you learn about yourself?
Should there be a reason?
First, there must be a reason. Then you can discharge the reason. Throw it out of the window, but find out.
I'm unhappy. And I think that unhappiness, if I can understand the unhappiness...
Wait a minute, lady. Wait a minute. I'm asking you, why should you learn about yourself?
Because it's the most important thing there is for me right now.
Huh?
Because for me, myself is the most important thing.
What is? Yes. You say I'm the most important thing in the world. Are you?
No, not at all. But for me, myself
That means what?
assumes a huge importance.
Wait. So, I should learn, we are saying, why is it important to learn about oneself? Are you, yourself, is not yourself the world? Huh? And the world is you, isn't it? Huh? Are you sure? Learn about it. If I want to understand what is going on in this murderous world, in this insane world, corrupt world, and I look at it, killing going on, wars are going on, brutality, cruelty, violence, everything is happening. Prices are soaring. There's a whole part of the world that are starving. I was told the other day, when that Indian lady was here, in Madras, there is no water. And they buy water. The richer you are, the more water you have. And the poorer you are, less, no water. Oh, you people. So, you are the world, right? Be quite sure that is so. And you've just begun. The older people have created this world, right? Your parents, your grandparents, my parents, they have created this world. And I'm part of that world. If I want to understand that world, I must understand myself. Bene? You got it? Vous avez bien compris? Bien. So I'm the world. And not verbally, intellectually, or it is a fact. That is the truth. And if I want to change that, I must change here. And I want to change that. When babies are being killed, when the bombs are being thrown and innocent people getting murdered, butchered, legs blown off. I have to do something. Therefore, I am the world. Therefore, to understand the world and change the world, I must understand myself, I must change myself. Right? You got that? Let's proceed. You know, you haven't seen things, appalling things that are happening. Oh, I won't go into all that. So, it is important that I learn about myself because I am the world, not because I am separate individual all by himself in a little corner. I am the whole world because I have created this world. And I am the result of this world. Right? Do you see this? Actually as you see that carpet. It's not an idea, that carpet. That carpet is there. So I must learn about myself. Right? If I learn about myself according to some psychologist, that psychologist is me. So why should I learn through him when I am here? You follow? You understand this? So I discard authority in learning about myself. Have you understood this? So I now must learn how to look at myself.
So I haven't understood when you say the psychologist is me.
That psychologist has learned a technique, has learned more information than me about myself or about himself. He's learned. And he's passing that on to me. So, if I learn according to him, I'm not learning about myself. I must look at myself. When I look at myself, I see he's like me. I can invent those theories.
And when you say I am the world, you're saying that there's greed in the world, there's violence, there's aggressiveness. I am all that.
Aren't you? Jealous, frightened, wanting your personal security, wanting position, prestige. So, I have to look at myself, to learn about myself. So I'm not going to learn through somebody. I am not going to say my guru is going to teach me all about myself. I said, go and climb a tree. I want to learn about myself. And I see the reason, the logic, the necessity, the urgency to learn about myself.
Is it more difficult for a person who has more wealth to learn about himself?
Oh no. He can learn about himself whether he's poor or rich, if he wants to. The rich man has a little more difficulty because he's so for all the rest of it. But any man who wants to learn about himself can learn about him, whatever his position, whether he's prime minister or a cook or an engineer or anything. So, to learn about myself, I must look at myself. Right? Do I learn about myself by looking in the mirror? Go on. Do I? I learn part of myself. I've got short hair, long nose, short nose, bright eyes, curious shape of head, or partially, not completely full head, and so on. I can learn myself observing in the mirror, right?
By looking at yourself in the mirror, can you have an image of yourself?
I'm coming
an image, but you were saying, well, because I have dark hair, I'm maybe more handsome or less handsome, or because I'm...
That's why I can look in the mirror and see the form of myself. The face, the nose, the eyes, the hair, the head, Now, please listen carefully. Is there a mirror that reflects what I am inwardly, inside the skin? You follow, Nelson? I know there is a mirror outside there in which I can look. That's it. That boy has learned the lesson. So there is a mirror which is relationship.
It's not. Because with whom you relate.
It doesn't matter. I said relationship, not with who, with a particular person.
So when you're learning from your actions...
Don't watch it. Watch. There is a mirror outside on the dressing table. I can look at myself. And is there a mirror inwardly which will show me what I am? And I say there is a mirror. He pointed out, Nelson pointed out, there is a mirror. That mirror is a relationship in which I am reflected. There is a reflection of me in my relationship. Right? How I treat you, what I say to you, how I talk to you, how I react to you. So this is important. Please learn for yourself. There is a mirror outside in which I can see myself, and there is a mirror inside which is the mirror of relationship.
Can I take it into a specific case where what is happening at Brockwood? They put a glass of Ovaltine for one thing, and certain persons will just come and take the half
Whole lot.
Yeah, and take it to the room.
That's it, you learn from that.
No, but how is this person going to learn when there's no relationship? He just has to come and take it.
Wait, we'll find out. We'll come to that. Begin with the fundamental issue and then we'll come to the details. You understand? See the totality first and then work out the details. What does the architect do? Because he has built so many houses, he imagines a house. It is there in his eyes and his mind and his heart, and then he draws it. Because he has a general picture of it, then he can go detail. But if you don't have general picture, you don't begin with the detail. You never come to the general. A spoke of a wheel is not the wheel. Right? You must see the whole and then add spoke after spoke. Right? So in the same way, look at this problem. It's time to stop, isn't it? Not quite. 6 minutes? Right. Do you want to go on with this? There's a mirror outside in which I see myself. That's part of me. And there is a mirror in relationship in which I see myself. My reactions, my thoughts, my activities, my hopes, my fears, my love. I learn in relationship with you what I am. Right? So, relationship becomes tremendously important. So I must learn what it means to be related. Got it? We'll go into that another time, because it's not, you have had enough, you get tired. So this morning, we said, somebody asked, what does it mean to be silent? We said silence, there is silence only when you understand it is not the cessation of noise, it's not between two notes, it's not when the mind stops chattering a short interval and then chatters. Silence is that quality of mind when the observer is not. He doesn't know he is silent. If you say, I'm going to be humble and you follow pretend to be humble, you have no humility. Right?
Say in this room, when it seems to cease down and to silent, would you call it not silent?
What?
It seems the noise ceases, and also...
Yeah, we said, look, okay, when noise ceases, is that silence? Because the noise can begin again. So, between two noises, is that silence? Between two walls, is that peace?
It is actually has nothing to do with this.
Therefore, find out, learn about silence. So you say, silence is not between two noises. Listen carefully. Huh?
Two noises outside or two noises
inside? Both outside and inside. Between two thoughts, the interval between two thoughts is not silence. Silence is not between two notes. That makes music, but it's not silence. You understand? The interval between two notes is the beauty of music. Do you understand this? I'm just thought of it, please. And mind, when it is chattering, and says, I must stop chattering in order to understand what it means to be silent, it's not silent. And silence means when the observer, which is the past, which is the collected associations, memories, remembrances, hurts, all that is not, then only there is silence, of which the observer is never aware. I can't say, but I have enjoyed my silence. Like eating a banana and saying, I've had a lovely banana. So silence means a quality of mind that has put everything in its place. A quality of mind that has put where everything belongs, so that it is free from things which bring disorder. Huh? Got it? That's enough for this morning, I think, don't you? May I get up?